I
which
love
never
responding
do,
to comments. It's so
honestly,
fun.
it was like
It's just fun because
sometimes
people
just-
get so upset, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't really care, but how
it
mad
was
can I
funny
make you?
though because I was laying in bed at 1 a.m. feeling like an idiot responding to these comments, and like people were responding in real time. Like they
Oh
were
God.
replying to my responses. It was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Class is now in session.
Welcome back to episode 14 of the 9 Degrees podcast, the number one non-educational, education-themed podcast in the world. We may have 9 degrees among us, but we still don't know much about anything. We'll keep you informed about the most interesting current events in the world, but make sure you use a fact checker because we certainly don't. Today, we're actually only down to 6 degrees, unfortunately, because as always, you got ya boy, Jerome. No Jared this week, unfortunately, but we got MADDOX, we got Jackson back for another episode.
Your 3 favorite bachelor podcasters.
not anymore.
Oh.
What was that? The bit? You didn't even like explain the bit to him. You weren't even like
You
MADDOX.
told me not to.
Was
Well,
that the
yeah.
reaction you were hoping for?
No, but it's fine. It's okay.
What did you want me to do?
I was gonna be like, oh, actually, about that, guys. I have
kinda
something
did
to
that.
tell you.
I kind of did
Yeah,
that
yeah.
through my gesture. I didn't
Yeah.
hit
Your
the
gesture.
line. Gesture?
Your gesture. Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get into it. MADDOX is a newly married man. Remember, you can catch the audio version of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts, including the video version on youtube.com/Jerome Vaz. Let's get right into it. Homeroom, the pleasantries. MADDOX, tell us all about it.
Actually, I hope everyone was watching the video version of that, because if you don't, you had no idea what's going on. You know?
Very true.
I always forget that. Yeah, for
Very
the
true.
Audio only. I was holding my ring up on my finger when Jackson said bachelor.
When
I'm not a
you hold
bachelor
it up
anymore.
against your sweatshirt, it like kind of blends in a little bit, so it looks like your finger is just like floating in air.
It looks just like I'm a
It's
magician.
It's like that trick that adults do to kids, like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
taking my finger
Well,
off
it's
my...
my finger.
Okay,
Yeah.
here is a question to see if anyone is truly my friend here or not. Why is it black?
I know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
It's because, man,
What is okay?
All
What is
of
a
your-
okay?
all
go
of your
ahead.
closest friends and people that you care about in your life are black, including me, and that's why you chose to wear a black ring for symbolism and unity of the mind.
Wrong.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
I'll
my
give you a
fault.
hint.
Jackson, go ahead.
What is a black gem?
Onyx.
See, that's what I was trying to thinking about.
Onyx. Okay, so
Okay,
why?
you like
Is your
the
favorite
Pokemon
Pokemon?
Onyx?
No.
Oh.
Get it? That's like in kind of in the same universe of why it is an onyx.
All right. So the things that MADDOX likes, he likes Yu-Gi-Oh. He likes Initial D, the
He likes
car
cars.
thing. He likes cars.
Okay.
Is that your favorite
Uh,
car paint color? Onyx? Black?
No,
No.
it can't be
Mhm.
that. Can't be that. I feel like it's a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, maybe.
No, not quite.
Mega Man. He
quite.
really likes Mega Man.
Not quite.
I mean,
Are we
you
getting
like,
closer?
Getting
Are we,
getting
like, right
warmer
there?
with that one. You went from card game to video game.
You like RuneScape?
Okay.
RuneScape.
Ooh!
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I don't know anything about RuneScape.
and RuneScape, you can mine Onyx for a lot of money.
You can't mine onyx. Actually, it's one of the gems that you can't mine, which makes it
They-
special.
And it's,
It's just
special.
okay. It's just
Go ahead.
in old school RuneScape. Actually, I don't know if it still is, but back in the day, it was like the highest level gem. Like there was like a tier list of gems, and the onyx was like the highest one. So like the best jewelry that had, the best, stats was made out of the onyx gem. So that's why. She got me
Is
the
that the
Onyx.
same
That's so
in real
interesting.
life? Is it also the most valuable wedding ring
No.
band?
No, this is actually just like an Etsy like thing. This is not like an expensive item, but I actually don't think it's technically an onyx. I think it's like tungsten or something, but
It's just colored that way, or
yeah, it's just like looks like an onyx.
That's cool.
It's also got a rose gold trim around it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but her rings are rose gold, so like it matches on the outside.
It's very. I don't know if Jackson, you feel this way. Last week, MADDOX, you looked like a boy. Now you look like a man.
What? Just because
I
of
don't
this?
know. Yeah, like I'm not even lying. Like it makes you look more mature. Take it off.
See here.
Yep.
You just look like all the people I know who
look.
I don't know. I know a lot of people in their 20s who are married, and when I say wedding ring on, I'm like, it's like, oh, these guys are so mature. They're all married, and now Maddox is one of them. He's joined
Yeah,
the
but
club.
it feels different. It feels different. Like all the other weddings that I've been to for my friends, I feel like they were like 22, 23 when they got married, you know? Like I feel like you're one of my first like closest friends that's getting married how do I put this delicately? At an appropriate age.
Yeah, yes, I was about to say the same thing.
Well,
no
I'll take
shade
that.
to all my other friends, namely the ones that are all in our Discord. But
Or to
anyway.
anyone else out there listening who's
Yeah,
got married
yeah,
young,
no shade. It's whatever floats your boat or goat. Anyway, Maddox, tell us all about the wedding. So we're all coming for the reception next week. Very excited. But how was it? You guys had like a very private ceremony last week, 2 weeks ago. At this point, how was it?
It was about as perfect as it could be. Honestly, it was really nice.
Wow.
You know, you kind of go into it with like a lot of uncertainty because we hired like a, so we traveled to Banff National Park in Canada, and actually, apparently, a lot of people get married there. The few days we were there, we saw at least probably 5 to 7 other couples getting married just just at the spot that like we got married at. So it's like not a random thing to do, I guess. But yeah, it's like we just hired like a photographer there and like an officiant and some people to do Hannah's hair and makeup and stuff. And it's just like you just don't really know what you're getting into. But it just like all went really, really smooth. The ceremony was on a Monday and the weather was like perfect. And then like the entire rest of the week we were there, it was raining every day. So like we got so lucky that the weather was good. But yeah, Banff is it's as beautiful as it looks in pictures. And as people say it is, it's just very, very just scenic, tranquil location. Like it was a really good spot to have a private ceremony. It was just like our immediate family members, so like our parents and our siblings, and then like our young nieces and nephews came. But yeah, it was good. It was really good.
That's awesome, man.
I don't know. It was kind of just like exactly how I would want it to be. The only issue, I mean, Hannah's dad couldn't make it because he had the stroke recently and traveling again. He just flew from California back home, and that was like a really, really strenuous trip for him. So he wasn't able to make it. That's the only thing I would have changed, is if he could have been there.
Yeah, no, for sure. What about you guys? After you guys got married, you went to Calgary, right?
Mm-hmm.
As like a little mini honeymoon type situation.
Yeah, it's just like that's where the airport is. So we just like
okay, that makes sense.
And we actually, Hannah and I met on semester at sea, our study abroad program, and one of our good friends that we made on that program, who like knew us before we started dating even, lives in Calgary. So we got to hang out with her a little bit.
Nice. Well, okay, here's the question that's boggling my mind. Food in Calgary. Good, bad, ugly?
Really good. I mean, well, okay. So just the food in general, really good. And I would say everywhere in Canada, like everything almost seemed just elevated from the US. The things that are like Canadian, so let's talk poutine.
Yeah.
So I had like a traditional poutine at just like a pub, and I don't know, pretty underwhelming. I didn't love it. I don't know, kept eating it, but it's just like I didn't really want to, I guess. But then I had a breakfast poutine at like a trendy brunch spot, and that was really good, but it wasn't, super traditional. It didn't have like the same type of gravy and the same type of cheese and stuff. So it was like a take on poutine, but I don't know. Another thing that I tried that I guess it's not Canadian, but it's kind of like a Canadian obsession, I guess, because they have it a lot of places, is pierogies. Have you had pierogies?
Nice. Okay, what those are like Swedish?
They're
Polish,
I think. Jackson, do you know?
No.
I think it's Polish. But yeah, they're like dumplings with like potatoes in them, like mashed potatoes kind of.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
I really like
meat,
those.
maybe?
Those were good.
Well,
But
nice,
yeah, I don't know. We had good meals everywhere we went. The fancy dinner that we had to celebrate was at this place called Major Tom, which was like in downtown Calgary. It was on like the 40th floor of this big tall skyscraper building, and like the whole floor is the restaurant, and you have like a view of the city. And it was really cool. All the like employees working there, like when you make a reservation, it says like what's your occasion or whatever, and we put like celebrating our wedding, and like they hand signed like a letter for us.
Oh, that's so
which
nice.
was cool. And yeah, the food was incredible. Although the steak that I ordered was just labeled market price, and it ended up being like 300 Canadian dollars.
Dude, how is
But
that
it's okay.
market price?
The Canadian dollar is weak, so it's actually not that bad.
Okay.
It's
That's
not
like
as bad.
230.
I mean,
220, 230 USD.
Still the most expensive
That's
USD
so
steak I've ever
crazy.
ordered. Which I need to stop doing that. I always get sucked into the Wagyu steaks, and they are really, really good, but they're not. I don't think they're worth the cost.
I completely agree. They're not worth the $200 price tag. Like I would not much rather, but I would be content with a $70 ribeye.
Yeah. I actually almost like they're almost like too indulgent. You know, they're like really, really fatty.
I agree.
So yeah,
I agree. Well, to wrap up the rest of Homeroom, anyone else got some gripes? Maddox, let's just start with you. You got any gripes as well?
Yeah, you know, just the haters in the comments.
Man, we got so many haters. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing.
Yeah, just our last episode, we were talking about the new proposed Unrealized Gains Tax, and we posted the clip about it, and there was a lot of some people, you know, we were talking. I was talking critically about it just because I think it is a bad policy, and a lot of people agreed with that. But then, you know, there's the people in there saying, "Wow, these guys." Like, I mean, so the way it's proposed, it only applies to people that have $100 million net worth, I guess.
Or more, yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, these guys don't even have $100 million, like talking about tax laws that don't apply to them. And one, I'm just like, how are people assuming our net worths out here? I mean, like,
I can have $100 million.
Yeah. I don't know.
Also,
like,
why is he saying these guys? Because I was for it. I was for the tax.
No, that's the thing.
I guess that wasn't in the clip.
So
yeah,
here's my question. Like my point was like, my responses to these guys: should we not want sensible policies, regardless of if they apply to us or not?
Right.
And then, so like the example I thought of is, should I not have an opinion on laws that affect like women's choices with their bodies? Because they don't apply to me?
Some people would say that, yes. Some people would say that you should not have an interest in that.
Or here's another example. And this is kind of a little different, but it's along the same lines. It's like, I don't want my taxes to go to schools because I don't have children. Or, you know, that's what people who don't have children might say. And I don't think that's the right thing. I think that's like objectively not a good opinion to have.
Well, anyway, my thought is like, regardless if it applies to you or not, like we should still want humane, sensible policies for the people that they do affect. You know, like
you're the most objective person on this podcast. Like, I feel like you will call out bullshit on either side because
I mean, I don't know. I try to be, but I don't feel. I'm sure I have. We all have our own biases.
Sure.
But like, if there was laws that existed that were oppressing certain types of people, even if you're not that type of person, that doesn't mean you
not
shouldn't
have an opinion.
Opinion. It's like we want like policies that make sense. Like we don't want policies that are like, you know, disadvantaging people or for no reason, or like, you know, like we want sensible policies. So yeah, that was my thought.
Agree. And I said that to this person, and they completely ignored that comment and kept going on about how I'm not worth $100 million. I'm like, buddy, I could be. You don't know.
I feel like there's people that have podcasts like ours that are worth that much. So it's like, I don't know.
Joe Rogan, Jake Paul.
Usually not related to the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Joe Rogan's worth 100 million. I was thinking of the All In podcast, like
Wait,
Chamath.
hold on. Pause for a second.
Close.
You don't think the Joe Rogan podcast is worth $100 million, or that Joe Rogan in general is worth $100 million?
I wouldn't think so.
His podcast is the #1 podcast in the world.
Yeah, I don't think that's $100 million venture, to be honest.
Well,
I think he just got like the largest ever Spotify deal. I don't know. Now I have to look this up.
Yeah,
I know the deal was for over $100 million, but that doesn't mean he is.
Because that's the whole premise of our podcast is fact checking.
I don't know. I think I would guess he's somewhere in the range of like $50 million net worth, but I'm not really good at guessing these things.
All right, let's look up Joe Rogan net worth. Joe Rogan's net worth, of course, is $200 million. Okay. And his Spotify podcast deal was worth $250 million.
And we all know those net worth reportings are 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
Anyway,
I wouldn't have guessed that, but that is interesting to know. So, our expectation of this podcast is that there is some percentage chance that we could be worth $250 million one day. That's
exactly.
That's the bar right now.
That's the ceiling. Yeah.
Cool.
I have MADDOX, if I may. I have a couple comments that I would like to read my responses to.
Okay.
These are more funny than anything. But someone said, and I'd like to get your opinions on this. Someone says, you can't tax debt. And I assume they're talking about your comment that you made where you said they should be taxed on the collateral that they put up when they borrow against that equity and use that money for whatever. They should be taxed on that. When, in your words, when they get the benefit, that's when they should pay tax, right? This person says, can't tax debt. So I responded, I said, one, he's not saying tax the debt. He's saying tax the collateral on that debt, which is an asset that's giving you a benefit. Is that accurate to say?
To be fair, like I wasn't really opining on the like nuances of how to do it, but just like somehow tax that dynamic, Yeah. That's the dynamic where people are benefiting from that wealth.
Right. And then the second thing I said was, again, can't tax debt. I said all homeowners pay property taxes every year on the full value of their homes, when in reality, most people have mortgages, and that is debt that they owe taxes on. I'd be like, fair statement? Fair statement? Sure. I'll say it's fair.
It's more of an asset. It's the same thing. It's an asset.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is an interesting, because I saw the property tax comment a lot, and that is an instance where you are essentially taxing people on the value of this asset, your home, and it's reassessed every few years. So as the price is going up, the taxes are going up. Mm-hmm. But like you said, most people, that's unrealized gains for most people. Mm-hmm. So that's like a similar concept. But
property taxes are such a small percentage, though. At most, it's like 2% of the property value.
Yeah, right. It's like you're not talking 20% capital gains, like 30% for short-term capital gain.
Yeah.
Like you're. I almost would be just like, at that point, just tax wealthy people based on their net worth every year with a small percentage.
Yeah. It's also a catch-22, right? Because they're proposing a tax on unrealized gains of 25%, but then it's like if you sell, then you're going to get hit with long-term capital gains, which at that net worth is also 25%. So it's like you're going to get taxed regardless. But next comment that I had, taxation without representation, illegal and unconstitutional, typical liberal crap. To which I responded, there are 11 members of Congress, 7 Republican and 4 Dems who have a net worth higher than $100 million. 12 if you include Donald Trump, who has a net worth of $4 billion. All that to say, it's not really taxation without representation, is it? Because 12 people are representative of the ultra-rich.
Also, that's not what that phrase means. That means you can't be taxed if you're not represented in the government, which they are if they live in the U.S.
Correct.
Or if they have assets in the U.S.
Anyway, people are dumb. So are we. I'm not saying that we're smart or experts by any means, but people are dumb.
We're just smarter.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
Exactly. Hey, we're still in Homeroom, by the way, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Any other gripes that we got? Can I get into my gripe for the week? Because it also
go
has to
ahead.
do with comments. People in the comments. Maybe this is just
you guys are too obsessed with comments.
No, we're not. I love it, Jackson.
I just, when it seems like our video or clips that take off the most are when people are really engaging in the comments, and it's usually because there's controversy. So
yeah,
I don't know.
so we like to go in there, we stir the pot.
It's it's sparking conversation. So it's like, it's like people are typically, kind of rude
Arguing.
about it.
Yeah.
There's passionate is a synonym for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Passionate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like good conversation. It's like there's that quote. It's like, as soon as you stop talking, like, you've lost. It's like, we got to keep talking about these issues.
I've got a gripe. We put out a video a couple weeks ago on Robert Downey Jr. and how he's becoming Dr. Doom, and the comments on that also really mean. Here's what people said. If you don't care enough to follow it, then don't bitch about it. That's one. Number two, it's a multiverse, you putz. Here's a thought. Watch the movie before you start bitching. How? The movie hasn't even...
singular.
Huh?
They're talking about, like, movie as in the whole cinematic universe.
I assumed that they meant the new Doctor Doom movie, to which I'm like, the movie hasn't come out yet, buddy. What do you mean? Next. Dude clearly is just not a fan of Marvel Comics. Next.
Comics.
He doesn't read the comics. And I'm like, am I expected as a consumer and enjoyer of Marvel Cinematic Universe to be a comic book reader? Like, fucking sue me for not knowing all of the comic book lore. And I'm the numbers guy. I looked into the numbers. Here's some numbers. As of 2021, Marvel made $282 million in comic book sales, okay? They sell their comic books at $3.99. That's approximately 71 million units sold. In 2021, Marvel Studios made $3.1 billion at the global box office. Average movie ticket price in 2021, $10. That's 307 million tickets sold. That's 4 times as many people that watch movies and read the comics, you dipwads. Of course, they're going to have opinions. Sorry that I didn't know that Tony Stark is actually a different Tony Stark, and no one knows because it's a multiverse, but actually the Tony Stark that they're talking about has a mustache and is from a different universe, so it makes it okay for him to be Dr. Doom. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Wow.
Anyway.
That was passionate.
That's all I got to say. I would like to say I don't know what a putz is, but I am not a putz.
I'll say this, so Jerome, I feel like, if you're criticizing something, like, while it's not, like, necessary for you to be, like, the most educated on it, or, like, an expert on this thing to criticize it, I do feel like you're opening yourself up to be attacked by people like that have read the comics, that have like, I don't know, invested more time into like understanding this thing.
I think that's fair. And I'm fine with it. But I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm a bitch and a putz for not knowing some lore about this made up universe that is fake anyway. Anyway,
I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
You just did so many people with that.
I'm sorry. I am a fan. I just started watching Agatha All Along. It just came out 2 days ago. 2 episodes I'm watching. It's good. I enjoy it. But there's too much. There's too much to keep up with. Anyway, Jackson, you have any gripes for the week?
I do, actually. And this one's about real life. Everyone's favorite thing.
Okay.
It's not about the comments. Okay, so do you guys hate it when you have like an engagement or something, and then not only does someone cancel on you, they cancel on you after the meeting time. They text you like, 30 minutes to an hour after and say, hey, sorry, can't make it.
That's unacceptable.
That's bad.
Well, that happened to me twice this week.
Dude, honestly,
you
take
need
those
new
people out of
man.
your life.
Yeah, you need new people.
Yeah, I gotta say. So let me just quickly say what they were. So I had a friend who was gonna come over to my house on Monday, like after work, and he's like 5:00. He's like, okay, yeah. We confirmed this like 2 hours before, and then at 5:30 he texts me, says, hey, sorry, I'm not gonna make it. And then the other time was on Thursday morning. I woke up at like 5:45 a.m. to go to the athletic club. We were going to practice pickleball together. And I sat there for like an hour. Didn't hear from him. I get a call from him. No, it's a different person.
Okay.
Which is weird that how many people that do this. But so he calls me like an hour later after the fact, and he's like, so this is already 2 hours after our meeting time, and he's like, yeah, hey, sorry, I was asleep, and my girlfriend kept me up late last night, so I couldn't make it. And I was like, and I had confirmed with him like the night before, so like less than 12 hours earlier. So
That's dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, one just like not canceling on you 2 hours after, and then flexing his alpha male status that he's up late night with his
the girlfriend. Yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
Also, 2 hours. What did you do for 2 hours? Because I would have been so pissed.
Okay, on the first example, luckily, since it was at my house, I was just doing stuff around my house. The second time, I brought a book and I was just reading, waiting for him. And, I probably would have been reading my book anyways in the morning, like, if that hadn't happened. Although I wouldn't have woken up as early, I don't think. But
Dude.
I gotta say that this is probably the thing that I hate the most when people do it to me. The reason why is because the way I sort of plan my life out is I like sort of planning out and blocking my free time like well in advance. It's like making plans with people for the coming week, Yeah. And whenever I carve out a period of time that I could be doing to do something fun, like, play video games, play pickleball, something like that, that means that I'm like really going out of my way to do it. And then whenever you cancel on me, and especially when you cancel on me after the fact, it really like messes with my sort of social calendar. And it means like, it's just like the whole like flow of my week is thrown off,
Dude, I think that's totally reasonable. I think that's so reasonable. I get pissed when people cancel on me the same day, like hours in advance, but the same day. And to be completely honest with you, I'm that guy. I am the guy that will cancel on you the same day. But I hate it when people do that to me. Canceling after the meeting time is insane. I don't know that that's ever happened to me, but that's craziness.
Jackson, we'll take a clip of that and just let us know who they were, and we'll tag them in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, did we hear about Jared before this or after we started recording? Do we know? Did he cancel on us before or after?
For
this recording?
Well, technically he canceled like a couple days ago, but then he hit up the group chat today and was like, "Yeah, I don't think I can make it," which is weird because it doesn't matter. We can talk crap about Jared. He's not going to listen to this episode.
No, that was just a joke. Don't hit on Jared. Jared, we knew that he was going to be here. So
should we go ahead and move into first period?
No, I got one more gripe.
Oh, Go ahead.
Airports.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay, so
maybe this is the gripe episode because Jared's
yeah. Well, airport TSA security, like they need, even like cross countries, they need to like get together and standardize like their process. Because I swear, every time you go into a different airport, the requirements are different, and it just makes everything more difficult than it needs to be. It's like flying is already
Which airport are you talking about specifically?
The Calgary one, going back to the States, was particularly thorough in their TSA process.
We should go against YYC.
I actually didn't have that big of a deal. It was just like, when was the last time you guys like had to take your toiletries out and like have them in a plastic bag and stuff?
Oh, it's been years.
Yeah,
I feel like the US got rid of that several years ago.
So my mom had to throw a bunch of toiletries away. My sister did. Hannah did. Like, I didn't because I put them in my checked bag. But and then they were like super strict about the laptop, taking the laptop out, which is like most airports I go to now. You don't even have to do that.
Do you have pre-check?
Okay. We're not talking about pre-check.
No. Yeah, that was my question. Is this pre-check conversation or is this regular conversation?
It's regular. I don't have pre-check. Some people in my family did, but like they didn't. They wanted to stay together, so they didn't go the pre-check route, and then it ended up being a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So, but the thing that I really don't like about it is like I don't really care that much. But when you're traveling to a country to enjoy it, and then like your airport experience is really, really bad, it's like it leaves like a bad taste.
Yeah.
You know,
at the very end of the trip.
Yeah. So I didn't it didn't bother me that much, but my my family members got pretty frustrated with the whole thing. So I was just like, come on, Canada, like you were great. except for the airport. And I feel like that happens a lot. Like, I remember last time I was in Denver, it was like that too. And it's just like,
Oh, that airport sucks, dude.
yeah, it's just like everyone needs to get, like, we all need to just get on the same page in terms of like what our process is here. Because then one, it's just more efficient. Two, you're not like, when when the last airport you went into, you just had to do this. And then now they're like yelling at you because you're like,
That's
like,
what I don't like is when you ask, like, do I have to do this? And they're like, no, you have to do this. And they're like, bro, I'm asking because, like, again, the airport I came from, I didn't have to do this. It's different everywhere. There's no standards.
Yep.
Where's our standards?
All right, that's it.
No, I like it. And honestly, because you brought that up, I'm going to bring my airport story up too. Because if you get on a plane and they tell you that it's a full plane, right? And you put both your carry-on bag and your backpack in the overhead, honestly, prison. You should go to jail. That's insane behavior. You're going to put your backpack and your carry-on? That's crazy. Also, this person that I'm specifically thinking about, they put their carry-on like horizontal when inside the overhead compartment, it like specifically said with graphics, put it vertically so you can fit, more. Insane.
I agree. Yeah. People need to like traveling is as like uncomfortable, like at the minimum, so it's like everyone just needs to like have good etiquette and be polite, make it as easy as possible.
Exactly. All right. Well, forget the periods today. We're just going to run through a couple stories.
Actually, hold on. I just got a text from Jared. He told me he has a gripe this week.
All right, sure.
No, I'm just kidding.
We do phone in gripes. We just turn into like a radio show.
we could.
We should.
That would be fun, actually.
When this show goes live, we'll have live gripes. This podcast is sponsored by And Collar. And Collar is an affordable men's clothing company where products are sustainably made with the equivalent of 15 recycled plastic water bottles. Their shirts have 4-way stretch, are machine washable, liquid repellent, and wrinkle and stain resistant. You can go to andcollar.com right now and get 15% off using code 9. Just so everyone knows, the code has changed. It is code 9 for 15% off. Thanks to And Collar. This podcast is sponsored by StockPick. Most investment information is delivered through dense, convoluted websites. StockPick is the only investor-focused mobile app that serves world-class news and insights through short, engaging videos similar to TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Every week, you'll get 15 or more stock tips from Wall Street pros. Plus, the StockPick team shares their daily buy-sell recommendations from the world's top brokerages. On top of that, StockPick offers great value for money compared to alternatives like Seeking Alpha or The Motley Fool. The price point is far more accessible. It works out to just be $1.50 a week versus up to $115 per week on some of those other platforms. Try StockPick today on a 14-day free trial. Check out the link in the description below. Make sure you use our link so we get credit for it. Now back to the episode. If you guys want to join the conversation with us as things are happening, come and join the Discord. The link is in the description below. It's completely free. You'll get advice, thoughts, commentary on current events in the classroom, and it's just fun. We're fun to interact with, so come and join. Okay, first story that I've got: Nintendo officially suing Pal World. So we talked about this a couple months ago. I feel like, and we were like, why hasn't Nintendo sued Pal World yet? That's crazy. Well, they must have just been getting their ducks in a row because they've officially sued Pal World. For those who are not familiar, Pokemon is a game from Nintendo with little monsters that you capture in balls. And Pal World is a new game from Pocket Pair where you fight little monsters and you catch them in balls. So basically the same thing. And so I don't really care about this lawsuit. I feel like we've beat it to death, but I want to play a little game with you that I'd like to call Which Pal is Actually a Pokemon in Disguise? And so I'm going to show you guys some images.
Wait, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So are these... Did you come up with this yourself, or were these like named in like a lawsuit? about.
I don't know that they were named in the lawsuit because I think details about the lawsuit are very, very like hush hush right now. But this was just an article I found on IGN where they found their like closest similarities.
I just think it'd be hilarious if these big corporate lawyers were like putting pictures up of different Pokemon and like comparing them.
Yeah, I think that'd be hilarious. But okay, so I'm going to show you guys a side-by-side picture of a Pokemon and a PAL, and you tell me if you think it's copyright infringement. Okay, the first one. Oh man,
I say no.
What?
Wait, is what? Hold on. Is one of those supposed to be like what, Luxray?
Yeah, I need to bring it closer to my face so I can see it, to be honest with you. Can you guys still see my screen?
Those
Yes.
flights to Chicago. Dang.
Ooh,
Steal.
157. Don't mind if I do.
No,
Yes. So this is the Pokemon. Oh, it doesn't tell me. The rest of them, I think, say.
Yeah.
but-
That one on the right looks like a. There's like no, but there's like also like more than one Pokemon. Which one is the Pal World one on the left or the right?
Correct. Left. The Power World one is on the left. The Pokemon is on the right. What do we
Okay.
think? They're
Yeah.
pretty similar.
I feel like there's more than one Pokemon that kind of looks like that.
Well, regardless, they're very, very similar.
Anyways, next.
Next, Pikachu and Sparkit. I feel like this one's a stretch. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the tail isn't even
Yeah, I would
like,
say.
it's just an electric rodent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
That's not a similarity.
This one, ignore the Charmander because I don't know what they were thinking with that. But Fox Sparks and Vulpix, I think it's called. I feel like this one kind of sort of they both breathe fire.
I would say
They're
this
foxes.
one's the closest one out of all the ones we've seen, but
Okay.
still, it's just like
Pangolin and Piplup.
yeah.
This one's bad. This one's bad.
That's what I thought when I saw Pangolin. Yeah.
This one doesn't even make sense. Snorlax and I don't even know the name of this pal.
Well,
I'm
okay,
gonna-
hold on.
There's a
Let's
there's
go.
a, there's a
Go
different
ahead, go ahead.
Pokemon.
I think
There's a different Pokemon that's closer. Miltank is closer,
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
the thing that
That's literally a cow.
I would think is more indicative of copyright infringement is not necessarily like the look per se, but like the concept. And this one is like, okay, the concept of like a sleepy guy. That's like more
A
specific.
sleepy big fat guy.
with
Yeah.
teeth, with like snaggletooth teeth.
That's like more specific than just like Jackson said, like the electric rodent. You know, like
Yeah.
that's just okay. That's their version of an electric rodent. That's their version, and then like the fire one, and then it's
Mhm.
like, but this is like okay, that's a pretty like creative concept. That's
Right.
that's not something I would just if I was building a game come up with. So
Yeah.
that one almost is more like okay, yeah, they are just like taking the same concepts and spinning them off a little bit. I
For
don't know.
this one, to be fair, the IGN article mentions the snaggle teeth. I think that's just a thing that's pretty common in Japanese pop culture.
Sure.
I don't think that really says anything.
They flipped them too. One is
Yeah.
up, one is down. So
Right.
different.
I'll skip
That's
through
how
some
they
of these because
work it.
there's a bunch, but there are some others that are like very on point. This one, I don't really think so. The crown helm like thing, this one I thought was interesting. The Robin Quill and what's the Pokemon versions called?
Is it Gallade?
Desudai?
It's not Gallade.
It's right here,
Never.
but I don't know how to pronounce that.
Decidueye. But again, that even looks closer to like a Gallade, which is another Pokemon. But so that just tells you like these, even in the Pokemon verse, there's similar designs. So it's like, how
Yeah.
many combinations of designs are there? How many unique designs can we do?
Right. Here you got another one, Anubis and
Yeah.
and Lucario.
Anubis is pretty. It's based on
Yeah.
Egyptian mythology. Is Lucario based on that?
Unclear.
Oh,
Grisbolt
this was
and
the one that
Electabuzz?
was. Yeah, this was the one that was the most like obvious
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, look at even the the lightning bolt on his chest, you know?
Grisbolt and Electabuzz. I feel like we need to be saying these out loud for the audio listeners.
Oh, yeah. Grisbolt and Electabuzz. This one, Incineram and Zoroark.
You can play. You can play as the Pokemon version of him in Super Smash Bros. I think they call it
Whoa, what?
Incineroar.
That's a different Pokemon, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a different
That's-
Pokemon. Here's another one.
You know.
Wooloo and
Yeah.
Lamball.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my
It's
question.
Anyway.
Puffy sheep.
Okay, obviously there's a lot of similarities. How
Yeah.
do we have a list of completely unique pals that there just is no resemblance to any Pokemon? I feel like that is the thing that could be used in this case to make the decision. Like look, every single pal resembles a Pokemon in some form or fashion. But if there's this whole other list of pals that are completely unique, like maybe
Right.
it's just like, okay, yeah, there's just some overlap in these concepts.
Right.
Also,
Like, did
there's
we
just
did we just hand pick like the
Yeah.
40 that look identical,
Right.
but there's a list of 200 that are completely unique?
There's
I
also
don't know.
like the concept of like nothing's actually original, you know? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
just
totally.
everything is just inspired by something else. This is a little more closely inspired.
Totally. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but interesting little update there, and we'll keep updating you guys as we know more about Nintendo suing Pal Worlds. All that to say, we got to get back on the gaming grind, boys, because this game might be shut down before we beat it.
I'm gonna
That
get
would
my
be
money
shame.
back. Paid $30 for this thing.
Honestly, maybe Steam would like refund you. I don't know.
We gotta get 9 Degrees gaming going so we can
I
justify
know.
gaming more.
We just need to become full-time streamers. Okay. Next story for me. Rap mogul Diddy gets arrested with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That was the best way that I could think to summarize what's going on. Are you guys familiar? We've talked about Diddy before, but are you guys familiar that like he has now officially been charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution? Those are the 3 specific charges that I was able to find, alleging that he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. I mean, the RICO charge, man. The RICO charge is bad. And the fact that they went and raided his homes and they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil, that's insane. I have seen this image online of someone asked ChatGPT. Actually, I think my girlfriend sent this to me. But someone asked ChatGPT to visualize like what 1,000 bottles of baby oil would look like on a table, and it's insane. Like imagine like a bank vault that's just filled with baby oil. It's crazy. So Diddy's a freak. What do you want me to say? He's a freak. But here's the one like weird thing that I thought about this story, and it was that Diddy was in New York in anticipation of the indictment, and he was planning to surrender on Tuesday. But instead, the feds showed up to his hotel on Monday and arrested him and took him away. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, but that's weird, right? Like, they knew he was going to surrender. They had agreed upon it. So why come and cause a scene, commotion, take him away, unless there's something else going on here? Something else crazier that we're not even aware of.
Got some tip that he was going to try to run off or something?
Maybe. And no one's ever going to know, I don't think. Or maybe information will eventually come out. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the hip-hop underground has been saying for years that that Diddy's the one that called the hit on both Tupac and Biggie. So maybe he's just getting caught up in for everything.
They said that about like a dozen other rappers too.
I think Diddy's the one that's like specifically been linked to it, but I don't know. Maybe.
Didn't they say that who was it? Biggie was involved with Tupac in the Tupac hit, or vice versa. I forget. I don't know. There's always been conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there's
that.
so many conspiracies, but interesting enough, he's denied bail because they said the defendant is a danger. So
the thing I've been seeing on Twitter is something about footage that Diddy had of Michelle Obama. Have you seen this?
No. What is this conspiracy?
The particular
I would
quote,
like to
the
know.
particular tweet I said was, "It is worse than you could ever imagine."
Wait, sorry, Michelle quoted that?
No, just somebody saying that had seen the footage, like.
Oh, as in,
But
like,
I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I didn't dig into it, so I just saw that Diddy had some footage of Michelle Obama, and it was
at one of his
bad.
like freak offs.
I guess I don't really know the whole Diddy story. Is that kind of thing? And there was also something about, I guess, Kamala back in the day, like hanging out with Diddy.
You hate to see it, dude. You hate to see it.
or like they
Is that why the feds moved in when they did?
Maybe before the election news or Kamala news can come out, we got to get him locked up. Ooh, this is a conspiracy I want to start.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know what to believe on the internet anymore. I just see stuff and I'm just like,
yeah, certainly don't believe us. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Maddox just said that. Maddox said that, and now we're starting conspiracies based on Maddox's third-hand knowledge of the account.
Yeah, you're right. But this is how conspiracies start, Jackson. It is what it is, you know? That's all I had. Should we also talk about Jerome Powell and his rate decision?
Yeah, Jerome is making cuts.
I did
not
it.
to this podcast, to the federal
we cut Jared. We cut Jared. I'm just saying.
That was the 0.5%. I see.
Well, someone more in the know than I, aka Maddox, our resident financial expert. What's going on? What was the
I don't know,
decision
man.
here?
The decision was to cut rates by 0.5 basis points, 0.5%.
0.5%.
There was
twice as much as usual.
Correct.
Yeah, so it was it's been known for a long time that this meeting they were going to cut rates, right? It was unknown if it was going to be 0.25, 0.5. I didn't know. I was leaning toward 0.25 just because the inflation data leading up to that some of it was higher. So I thought they were going to lean more toward, hey, inflation's still looking like it could run a little hotter than we want it to. So we're going to not cut as much to try to keep that at bay. They didn't choose to do that. So what does that indicate? It could indicate that they're seeing weakness in economic growth or the labor market, and they're trying to get ahead of that by cutting more and being more accommodative, which would not be a good thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but could be what they are seeing. I think so I don't know. Before I go into speculative things, do you guys have any thoughts on it?
I guess I didn't really know much of a difference between the 0.25 versus the 0.5, but my initial thought is, okay, we've been battling this inflation problem for a long time, and now all of a sudden we are seeing it ease, and we know that the year-over-year growth of inflation is slowing, but we're not in a deflation period by any means. So inflation is still sure, not rampant, but it's still there. And so my biggest concern is, okay, when you drop rates by 0.5%, is that not just going to refuel the inflation problem?
Yes. Well, it's definitely a risk. None of this is certain, but yeah, that's the risk. And you saw commodities prices tick up pretty meaningfully, I would say, in response to this. So commodities are probably the asset that's most inflation linked. So it's that's definitely the risk that they've created here. So what's interesting though, Jackson, did you want to talk about what you said before the podcast first?
So my job, I work for a bank, and they tie the interest rate they give on savings to the federal interest rate. And so whenever that announcement was made, we automatically the interest rate we were giving on savings in people's accounts lowered by 0.5%. And just to comment on the rate cuts in general, I am not surprised that the rates were cut. I'm surprised that they cut them 0.5% as opposed to just 0.25%. I've always thought of Jerome Powell as being a very sort of gradualist unless, except during pandemics, obviously, but he's a very measured and calculated guy, sometimes too prone to public opinion in making his decisions, but that's a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really didn't understand why inflation was cut by 0.5% instead of just cutting it by 0.25% this time, and seeing how that affected it. And then, okay, in 3 months, you can cut it by 0.25% again. I didn't see the harm in that.
I agree. Yeah. I was a bit surprised by it, but if you were looking at like market pricing and people's expectations, it was pretty 50-50 as to whether it was going to be 0.5 or 0.25. So even though I was in the camp of 0.25, I think that there was a lot of market participants, at least, that were thinking that the 0.5 was going to happen. If you look through history, though, the 0.5 cut to start off a rate cutting cycle is pretty rare. I think that's only happened like a few times in history. So,
and I actually saw that it's happened around like great recessions, like supposedly the first time that it happened. And so maybe you can correct me, Maddox. I'm a little unclear on the timeline as to if the rate cut then recession happened or vice versa. We were in recession and then the rate cut happened. So I'm a little unclear on that. But when it's happened, it's been like 0.5% .com boom or .com crash. What was it called? .com boom. Sure.
Bubble.
That's the word. And then same thing, 0.5 in 2007, great financial crisis. So
are you so like for the .com one, was it the 0.5 cut and then the bubble crashed?
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing too. Like the times in history where they've started the rate cycle with that, it's been indicative of a recession. Because they are, well, the dynamics are complicated, but like, you know, the notion that they're choosing to cut aggressively upfront is maybe indicative that they're seeing weakness, you know, that is about to transpire. To be fair, though, the Fed doesn't historically like really have any good predictive ability. You know, they're not great at like anticipating these things, and that's not really what they try to do anyway. Like especially Powell has been very consistent about like, hey, we're like data dependent. Like we wait and just see the data and just respond to the data. We're not trying to like front run the data.
Yeah.
Jerome, I would say in those examples you gave, we were already seeing market indications that a recession was coming.
And that was my point, is like I don't fully know the timeline of how things happened. But I would agree with you. Yes, I think we were already headed in that direction before the rate cut happened. And then,
And it's interesting this time, I don't think, and like what Max said, I don't think the Fed is trying to anticipate that this time. I haven't really heard anything about any kind of recession coming, although, well, actually, I think I said something to that effect on the podcast, but that actually is your last indicator that you should probably bet against that, what I would say. So as far as that's concerned. But I don't think that's what's happening this time. I do honestly think it's just a market correction, and I don't think we're going to see continual rate cuts after this.
So that's what I want to get into, because the expectation here, I think, the consensus, what most people are thinking, and what market pricing is showing that people are thinking, for instance, how bonds are priced still, is that the path, you know, markets are forward looking. So like they're pricing in now what they expect the Federal Reserve's path of interest rates is going to be. And right now people are saying, based on how they're voting in the markets, that there is still going to be like, this is the start. This was the first one, and it was 0.25 or 0.5, and it was pretty up in the air. But they're still thinking that there's going to be a lot more cuts from here. So I had a lot of people reaching out to me about, like the Fed's going to cut rates on this meeting by 0.5. Like, should I buy a house or should I refinance? That type of thing. What I actually did is, since markets are forward looking, right? So like Jackson said, the savings rate on bank accounts, that is directly tied to the federal fund rate that the Fed is actually setting. They're moving it, right? But long-term interest rates, that's a fluctuating market that fluctuates based on the short rate that the Fed controls, but also based on the future expectations of that short rate, how the Fed is going to cut in the future, cut or raise in the future, or do nothing, and based on inflation expectations, and other expectations, like if they're...
So is that what you're describing, like what they call like the 10-year rate or something?
Yeah, the 10-year, and then the 10-year is pretty commonly like referred to, and then there's 30-year, there's 2, 5, 7.
And I was actually seeing that like typically like mortgage rates specifically are based off of these longer term rates, like what you're describing. So this short term like Fed rate cut, while it impacts it in a way, you're not gonna see that same 0.5% drop.
Well, this is what's so interesting, and this is what I took a bet on, is the long-term rate. So like mortgage rates and the long-term bonds, or automotive loans, like any long-term, basically no individual is affected by the short-term rate that the Fed sets, unless in terms
of like debt.
Yeah, in Jackson's example, like your savings rate on your bank account is going to be affected like that. But any money that you're borrowing is going to be at a long-term rate. So the Fed, while that's a factor in determining those, it's not the only factor. And it really only matters when it changes extremely in unanticipated situations. So like if the Fed... if there was like COVID, right? That was a major systemic event, and the Fed did an emergency rate cut and cut rates to essentially zero. That was a major unexpected move, and so that really drastically affected long-term rates. Otherwise, the rates aren't affected that much by the cuts because these are cuts that are very, very far in advance, like the Fed's talking about them months and months in advance. So they're always being kind of built into the secondary market. So the point I was making is leading up to this meeting, the long-term rates were already reflecting that 0.5% cut. So there's all these people that are waiting for the cut to happen and then wanting to, take on a new mortgage or refinance. But really, you should have done it before the rate cut because the rates were reflecting that beforehand. And then what you actually saw is when the day that the cuts happened, rates went up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I did, and I didn't time this perfectly, but any debt that I had taken on in the past couple years when rates were, higher than they were, basically the day leading up to the meeting, that's the lowest rates have been in several years, 2 to 3 years, I guess. So any debt you had taken on up until that point, if it was at a higher rate, refinancing it on that, like at that point, was a great bet because
it's like your car loan that you took like last year.
Yeah,
or not even a year ago.
The car and an investment property. Because here's the thinking. That all the aggressive cuts are already priced in to rates right now. Now the cuts are happening. For rates to actually go lower than what the Fed is projecting that they're going to cut, the Fed has to cut even more aggressively. Right? Because it's already reflected in rates now what the Fed is projecting, like what the Fed is doing. So for rates to become even more attractive, they have to do more than what they're saying. And a scenario where the Fed is doing even more than what's currently priced in or what they're currently projecting, it like what is currently forecasted is very aggressive rate cuts. And like that, the aggression of those types of rate cuts are consistent with cuts that would happen in a recession, right? So like if you're in this scenario with where rates are like now and ideally right before the meeting, that's either like a multi-year low for rates because the future the future rate cuts that the Fed does are either going to be less than what's already expected or just in line with what's expected, and that's already priced in, so it's not going to get any better. Or if it is more aggressive, the Fed cuts more aggressively, that means we're in a recession.
Yep.
So why are you wanting to buy assets with debt right now anyway? Because a recession means the prices of assets are going to come down, houses and cars and stocks. And then also, so it's like, especially with refinancing or taking on debt, if you took that bet and you lock in the rate now, there's a chance that that's close to the multi-year low for interest rates. Or if you're wrong, rates go much, much lower, you just refinance. And so it's like, that's like a great bet, because the reward is asymmetrical, like, like it's a low risk. Either you lock in now and you get that, and if it goes lower, okay, you can just refinance lower, or you've locked in at a
already low rate.
Yeah, like at the time where it's going to be the lowest for many, many years. So that's what I did. I expressed that through refinancing a couple of some of our properties we locked in at like 2.5% rates pre-COVID. So like, obviously you don't want to touch that debt, but any debt that you had prior to where rates were a couple days ago, or still like right now, I guess. I mean, even like literally in the past couple of days, rates have ticked up. So, I didn't time it perfectly because I didn't lock in everything like on the right day, but I feel like I've gotten in the ballpark. And then also I've shorted bonds through puts, which is expressing that bet too, that rates are going to come down from here. Or also I'm short assets, stocks, crypto, because there's just a paradox in markets right now. It's like with where rates are if rates are going to go much lower, it's going to mean a recession, and stocks and real estate, crypto have to go down a lot. Or if we're not in a recession, bonds and rates are really, really, really mispriced right now, and rates are going to go much higher from here. And the Fed is not going to cut nearly as aggressively as is being priced into markets. And inflation's likely going to tick back up and be a problem again. And they're going to have to start dealing with that again.
Yep.
So there's just like, it's just a paradox. It doesn't make sense. So there's opportunity to take bets on that, I feel like, in a way that you can have upside with a little bit of downside. I guess the alternative to this thesis is like, okay, maybe the Fed just does cut rates extremely aggressively without a recession, and then it's just like, that's like a rogue entity, essentially. Like, they're just stimulating the economy for no reason, and the inflation would get really, really, really bad, likely, in that situation.
Not good for my salary. Anyway,
sucks.
No, that was a helpful analysis and explanation of kind of the things that are in play and the different things that they're trying to balance, but also that we should be considering when we're making our personal finance decisions. I'm ready to move on. Go ahead.
Well, one last thing I want to say on this topic is going to get it's going to get into the election. There's two, I think, macroeconomic indicators looking surface level anyways, that bode well for Kamala Harris in 2024 because she's the incumbent vice president, her administration's in office. One is these rate cuts, I think maybe not significant change, but if anything, it's going to have a positive effect on markets and it's going to have a positive effect for her. And two is gas prices, which is another thing that the president really doesn't control. But gas prices are low right now. And we're like, less than 50 days from the election. So,
supposedly the U.S. is pumping a lot of gas right now.
Yeah. And we're pumping a lot of, or we're doing the opposite of that to interest rates. We're pumping the interest rates down. So, so two macroeconomic indicators that I think bode well for Kamala Harris in the election.
This should be in the gripe section, but it's just something that bothers me a lot is when people talk about, well, like the economy was like this when President X was in office, and now it's like this because of President Y. And most recently, I've seen that with people comparing like interest rates, like the cost on a monthly payment on a house and a car and stuff in a Biden presidency versus a Trump. And it's just like, bro, like neither one of these guys had anything to do with that. Like the macroeconomic stuff that's going on just like is so distant from the president. I mean, there's fiscal policy that I guess can have big impact, but I mean that's actually kind of what happened. Like the fiscal policy when COVID happened, was that a Trump presidency when COVID happened?
Yes.
Yeah. The fiscal policy when Trump was president caused the inflation that the rates that are currently being raised is trying to fix. Like, so it's like the economic reality now was like because of the president before. It's like
there's usually a lag. It might be 4 years lag.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Like that actually is how macroeconomics works. I think there's long and variable lags, and but yeah, I don't know. It's like a pet peeve of mine when people take stuff like that and blame it on the president when I just don't see the correlation with presidential policies to be that significant.
We should get the commenters on our videos to say you can't talk about, like, to those people who say that about the gas prices and stuff. You can't say that when you don't know because you don't know this about this. You haven't seen the United States Federal Reserve cinematic universe. You got to watch all those movies first.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to go start trading oil futures before you can talk on that.
All right, should we move on into Recess, which is our findings of the funniest and dumbest memes on the internet and just fun things that we like to talk about across Twitter, Reddit, the internet in general. This week, I think Jackson's got one for us around the company Chegg.
Yeah, so I was on Reddit the other day, and this will be a little mini quiz for you two. What do you think the stock of Chegg, which is a company, I know that the thing that college students know them for is they make all the answer keys that you can look up or you can like buy or look up to see the answers in your college textbooks and how to do problems.
I absolutely had a subscription when I was in college, and I used it every single day.
Yeah. So what do you think their stock looks like over the last 5 years, going back to 2019?
I think that it probably, you said back to 2019?
Yes.
So I think, call it 2019 to, I'm going to say 2022, they probably exploded. I'm thinking COVID time, remote work, or remote like schooling, and students were thinking that they could get away easier with cheating and whatnot. So they got Chegg subscriptions. And so I'm thinking skyrocketing there. And then I'm putting my pin in 2022 as like, I don't know, when AI went mainstream, let's call it. And I think they went either flat or slightly negative with the influx of usage of things like ChatGPT for college students. That's my guess.
All right, Maddox, what do you think?
Jerome, I appreciate the thoughtfulness of your analysis. I think you're just because Jackson's asking us about it, I think you're overthinking it.
Okay.
I'm honestly thinking. So I did use this too, but I didn't pay for it. Did you paid for it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I gave my login to everyone. You probably were using mine.
No, I just would. They would give you like 3 free lookups, and I would just open an incognito browser every time.
Oh, dude,
and just,
that's so smart.
So I would use it for free that way. I don't know if that's still a legitimate way to do it, but I do know now that I'm pretty sure my younger brother, who's still in college, uses this and pays for it.
Okay.
And so I think I've been
Tell them to
hearing
get on
about
AI.
it. What's that?
Tell them to get on AI instead.
Well, so what's the thing about Chegg though is like you'll find like your actual assignments on there.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would say, well, you could try to like coerce AI to like solve this thing for you. It's like on Chegg you can like literally find your assignments with the
exact
correct
problem.
answers.
Yeah.
Seems like probably still more efficient to me. For certain types of assignments, right?
So what do you think the stock price looks like in the last 5 years?
I'm gonna say it's skyrocketed. I'm gonna say like 5 years. I want to say 750%.
Oh my God,
Okay.
that's so much. Okay, I'll look it up.
This is a live reaction, by the way.
Wait, go back to your search history.
Uh-oh.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
What was it?
We don't want to get demonetized.
What was it?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny that you're.
Chegg stock.
Okay. I might have to cut that out of the thing. Whoa.
Last
okay.
5 years.
One day. All right, let's do a slow reveal here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
5 day. Okay. They're down
Even in
7%.
5 days, it's down 7% in the last 5 days.
Down
Ooh.
17%. Oh, Maddox, this is not
And
boding
by the
well
way,
for you.
it's at $1.74 right now.
This is
Okay.
not
I already
boding well
know that
for
I'm
you.
wrong just by that information.
Oh no.
Last 6 months, it's down 78%.
1 year
Last
down
year it's down.
81%. All right, what's the big reveal here?
94.
Oh
95.
no.
Okay, so actually, Jerome was pretty spot on, except for when he said it was slightly down. So their stock actually got up to over $100 per unit in it peaking around the beginning of 2021. But then it just fell off the face of the earth. So it's down, like someone do the math on that, like 60x.
Yeah.
About?
No, more than that. It went from 100 something to basically $2. Yeah, okay.
So
67. Do we know why?
That dip pre 2022, are we calling that the AI release dip, or was there?
No, that is so that's sort of when ChatGPT.
Wow.
I don't know when it released, but
Dude,
that's kind of when it came out.
I called that like almost spot on, didn't I? Maybe my dates were a little off, but
yeah, no, and so it's like it just was very interesting to me. Well, one, I didn't know that Chegg stock went that high. I guess there was a big tech boom after COVID in like 2021. I think that's part of the reason why it peaked so high. But also just like, the economic side effects of certain technology, certain things that happen, certain innovations, we get great innovations in AI, but it totally kills the college cheating website market. Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical about this, because I just don't know if.
No, what you said earlier makes sense. You're absolutely right that Chegg would provide a better answer than AI most of the time,
Right.
probably.
So
It-
this
is
could
it-
be
the exact problem.
this could be a potential market mispricing, because
Good
people
point.
could be.
So you're saying we have another GameStop on our hands?
Ooh,
Maddox,
let's
you need to start
buy up
cooking
a
up
ton of-
I
Chegg
yeah, I
stock.
need
Bets
to
post.
I need to get on Wall Street Bet and start
Yeah.
buying Chegg options.
Yeah.
Ignore the
My-
fact that even in the last year, it's dropped 83%.
So I'd like to look and see if that period where there was that big dip, like I'd like to see if that was really like the ChatGPT release, or if there was some bad earnings there, or like any other like potential
Chegg's
catalyst.
CEO found out that he was best friends with Diddy and Epstein.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
You know?
Anyway,
Like the clickbait headline I saw on Reddit, it attributed it to AI.
okay.
But, that's just like someone putting text on an image on a graph. And
But
it's
see,
like,
so my one anecdotal evidence, my one data point is that my brother, who's still in college, still uses Chegg, and he doesn't use ChatGPT.
he's
so-
probably the only one who is, the only college student in America.
he's in the tough like mechanical engineering, like
True.
like the late stage courses. I feel like you'd be trying to find whatever resource works the best in
agree.
that
I
scenario.
agree. And it used to work really well for me in electrical engineering. All right, I got one for you guys that is less heavy. I'm going to share my screen for you. It's a video of, it is a bar / bartender in Japan. I'm gonna make this. Is this like full screen for you guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Just this guy, making drinks in Japan.
Interesting shape to that ice, by the way.
Yeah. Look at it. Making it a jewel, dude. This is what's on my TikTok, by the way. Like, it's so beautiful, so peaceful, serene.
He had 2 camera angles. That's crazy.
I know. But yeah, just lots of like incredible craft cocktail making, right? But here's what I wanted to get at. Pause the video for a second. The comment on this reads, "That's amazing. Can I get a Bud Light, please?"
That's savage.
Uh-huh.
And I was just thinking about it, and I was like, "That's so funny," because like, I feel like that must happen all the time. So maybe not this guy, because they probably don't have Bud Light there, but like at these like high end like cocktail lounges that you go to, and they're like serving these like $25 drinks that are like crazy, and then people are just like, "That's cool, but can I just get a beer?"
I think that we were talking about Jackson getting bailed on after his plans. Like, that's insanity. That to me is insanity. Going
To order a Bud Light at a cocktail bar like that?
yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm
agree.
getting old, but like,
No, I don't know. I mean, I think we've been to some like dinners or brunches where everyone will get like a fancy drink, and then one of our friends will, hey, can I have a Heineken? Or
Yeah.
just like some random beer. It's like it's just a certain, or like, certain people will get the fancy drink, certain people will get the beer. It's just
Yeah.
a dynamic thing.
I am at the point in my life where if I'm drinking, I don't know. Well,
Want
one
to
I just
maximize
one I
enjoyment?
just genuinely appreciate these days, like a good cocktail.
Yeah.
Because there are good cocktails that exist, and then there's also like you go to the expensive restaurant and you pay a lot for a cocktail, and it's like you don't even want to drink it,
Yeah.
So like when I do get a good cocktail, I'm like that's like a good life experience for me, like I thoroughly enjoy that. And like to think that and on the opposite end of the spectrum, like I'm at the point in my life where I would rather not be drinking than drinking a light beer. I'd have to be like out on a camping trip or something, and I know I'm going to be there for like a few days, and like the only alcohol that was brought was like these racks of light beer. That's like the situation I think of for me to like
Speaking of,
Drink a light
are you gonna have light beers at your wedding?
So should I tell you the drink menu?
I would love that. Do you want to reveal it on the pod that's going to come out on Monday or Tuesday before your wedding?
It's not a surprise or anything.
Okay.
It'll
yeah.
get more people to listen to it. If
Yeah,
anything.
tell us the menu.
I-
We'll make it the title of the episode. MADDOX reveals his bar menu.
So for the beers, I chose the beers that I like.
Athletic Brew,
No,
Heineken Zero.
dude. Oh my
Keep going.
god!
Keep going.
Why are you doing me like that?
Those are the ones you like, dude.
Not the Heineken Zero, dog.
All right, my fault.
Corona,
Budweiser
of
Zero.
course. Salud mi familia.
Okay.
Stella,
Ooh, okay. I like Stella.
Corona, Stella. Those are like my favorite. Just like grocery store, you like get it at any bar beer. I don't know if every bar has Stella, but
Yeah.
a lot do. It's a popular one.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a third one, and I can't remember what it is, but I think I chose a light beer option, because I was trying to cater to those.
Like a Miller
Friends of
Lite or
ours.
like a Bud
Yeah.
Light or something like that.
Yeah, I think
Coors Light.
either like probably Miller or Michelob or something.
Oh, okay.
Dang, I can't remember though. Should I look it up in the email, or is it not?
Nah, it's
is
fine.
it not worth it?
It's fine.
And then we have a few wine options. I let Hannah pick those, but it's like maybe a couple reds, a white, and a
Rosé
rosé
blue.
or something.
Ooh.
Red, white, and blue. No. And then we have our signature cocktails, the
Ooh,
bride
this is
and the
what I
groom
wanna hear.
cocktails.
Yeah.
For mine, I picked an old fashioned, of course.
Okay.
And then Hannah picked a strawberry margarita.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have, for Kiki, our cat, we have sangria.
That's cute. That's cute that you're
Yeah,
going to give your
so-
cat sangria. That's really cute.
We're not going to give it to her. It's like, but it's like, that's her option.
I like that. Well,
but yeah.
I'll be sampling one of all of the drinks that you just mentioned. And yeah, hopefully I'll still be on my 2 feet.
That's all we
Or
can.
4 if you're a cat.
Yeah, 4 of your Kiki. Well, on that note, thank you guys for watching this episode. As always, if you want to interact with the professors and talk about the current events in real time as they're happening, make sure to join the classroom on Discord. The link is always below. It's been a little light recently, so come on, let's get the chatter going. Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. We also have Instagram, TikTok at 9 Degrees Pod on everything. Make sure to check those out. Thank you guys for watching the episode, and class is now dismissed.